most wanted man. Now the plot for this movie is how a spy is tasked to follow a businessman who he believes finances terrorism. Now I was really looking forward to this movie because one, the trailers looked good, and plus it was one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's last performances. And this movie is adapted from a book by the same author who did Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. Now with that movie, I was okay with. I didn't find anything too entertaining out of it, and I kind of found it. I thought it was kind of boring for my taste, for a thriller movie goes. And with this movie, I felt the same way. Now, like I said before, you got Philip Seymour Hoffman, you got Willem Dafoe, you got Rachel McAdams, you got Robin Wright. Good, solid cast. But I feel that this movie is a chess set where you have a lot of good pieces, but the movie doesn't know how to use those good pieces to make a good, solid movie. This movie is a thriller, and for me, thrillers are supposed to be suspenseful and entertaining at the same time. With this movie, you get none of that because this movie is very slow and methodical. And usually with thrillers, you get a little highs and you get a little lows. And for me, this movie just felt like it was on autopilot for like the whole entire movie. Especially when it comes from a thriller, you have to be invested into the movie for you to care about the characters and the overall story. But in this movie, you didn't get that because it's very slow and very methodical. And there's scenes in there I felt that they were truly unnecessary or didn't really add to the plot of the movie. And pretty much overall, this movie is overly detailed. Now, of course, there are movies that are overly detailed like Argo and Zodiac or whatever. But when movies are overly detailed, it also has to be entertaining. This movie didn't have that. It was overly detailed without the entertaining part. And for a thriller movie, I was totally disappointed by it because with thrillers, it has to be a level of suspense when you go into it. Honestly, there was no suspense into the movie. It was talk, 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 and then nothing really comes to fruition. And it did have some suspense to it, but once we got the suspense part, the movie was over. It ended abruptly. And I felt that, wow, we sat through 2 hours and this is all we got? Andrew Corbin, who directed The American, which I think is an underrated movie, didn't really do anything good with this movie with the pieces he had. I mean, you have a good, solid cast. You gotta be able to use them to your advantage, and you didn't get that here. A Most Wanted Man is really slow, methodical, and for lack of a better word, boring. Because for a thriller movie, you want to be invested into the story. You want to be invested into the characters. But this movie is so slow that you take yourself out of it out of the first half hour. And for a thriller movie, that's a no-go for me. The only good redeeming part about this movie is the fact that the cast is solid, but the cast were not utilized to their full advantage. I mean, you got Robin Wright, who's a good actress on House of Cards. You got Willem Dafoe, who's a good actor in his own right. You have Rachel McAdams, never mind. But you have Philip Seymour Hoffman, who was a good, solid actor. And his performance in the movie was fine. I mean, all the performances in the movie is fine, except for Rachel McAdams, where her accent was a little muddled. But other than that, she was fine. A Most Wanted Man is for me personally, a very disappointing movie where I expected a lot more out of it, which I didn't get. And it's a movie that you don't need to go see in the theaters or go rush it in the theaters. Matter of fact, you can probably rent it on Netflix, only if you want to. But just expect, once you do see it, if you want to rent it on Netflix, that you're in for a long, drawn-out movie. So I'm going to give A Most Wanted Man 2 stars out of 5. For a thriller movie with a good side cast like this, I expected way more than I got. So guys, if you've seen A Most Wanted Man, let me know what you guys think of it down below. Like it, hate it, and guys, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side.